Hi guys, welcome back to the Reupload podcast. This is episode 20 and this is the last episode of the season. This is one we've been working on for a long time. Here with all the way from Byron, Jake Harpaz. Do you want to quickly introduce yourself, tell the world what's going on?
Yeah, hey, my name's Jake Harpaz. I'm basically a singer-songwriter, originally from Sydney, but now based here in Byron Bay for the last 5 years. And I just in my spare time I mainly just surf and my occupation's playing music. Currently working at a surf store, so yeah, just the two things I love to do, and then I also game in my spare time when I get some spare time.
Fair enough. We had a funny way, man. Usually have someone on, we talk about like how we met. Not a funny way, but it was just like It was different. But a mate of ours, dad passed away, and rest in peace to him. And then we met each other. And, I think you mentioned about something about the podcast or something. You're the podcast guy or something. I think you said, or someone said, I can't remember exactly. And then here we are.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah.
So how did you so what happened with Byron Bay? Like, why did you move up there? Was it a family choice, or you up there by yourself?
Yeah, so pretty much my dad actually came here in 1991 from South Africa just on holiday. I think he was visiting or almost had relocated just with immigration and everything. And when they just came on holiday to Byron Bay, Mum was like, "Oh, no, I'm not really sure about this place." And Dad was like, "Oh, I love this place. Let's move here." So yeah, so it's pretty much set in stone from like the 90s. Dad was like, "I want to live here one day." And then, sorry, that was just my phone.
No, no problem.
So came in the 90s, Dad, and then he was like, "Yeah, I want to move here one day." And we lived actually around Bondi for 17 years. I grew up there, went to school around the eastern suburbs and stuff, Emmanuel, Vaucluse, and then, finished my last year of high school here and been here ever since. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say was the big difference from like going to like a Jewish school? And I've spoken to, friends of ours who have like told me different sectors of like how, there was different challenges, and I won't go into detail, but how was that? And then going and moving and starting a school in Byron for that year?
Yeah. It was, for me, I guess for some people it would be a crazy transition. But for me, I guess I was kind of on the verge of like, I wasn't really liking school at all. Like probably most people weren't liking school. But it was like probably, year 11. I was coming towards the end of it, and I was going to TAFE in the school with my mate Zach and stuff. We would walk there every day. And I think the biggest transition, I was kind of just keen to get out of Sydney and maybe just like get away from that kind of bad crowd. I didn't have the best year group. Sorry if any of you are watching this. I'm not getting shit. Yeah.
Oh, bro.
Yeah. But I just didn't really fit into the year group, I don't think. And so I think for me, it was actually quite an easy change to make, transition, because I came here and a lot of, I guess, especially 5 years ago, wasn't as trendy as it was now, Byron Bay. And there was a lot more appreciation like for art, and there was just a much more laid back, cruisier kind of town feeling. For me, it wasn't so hard. And I thought it was actually probably the greatest move to have for 17 to 18-year-old. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, one thing I've just thought of right now.
Yeah.
So the Byron kids for schoolies, do they go to Byron?
See, that's a
good one.
Look, it depends sometimes. So what actually happens with a lot of kids in Byron is depending on like the crowd. I had a lot of my mates or people in my year went to Bali for schoolies.
Yeah.
Bali's a big destination, or Surfers Paradise. So, but there are a lot of people who just stay around because obviously there's a lot of nice looking ladies when you're 18.
Mate, of course.
On the loose. Yeah.
Oh, mate, they're all on the loose, especially in Byron. You wonder why every Sydney kid goes there.
Yeah.
Every New Year's. That's like, mate, I don't know how many people that I've known that just gone up there. And then even with COVID.
Yeah.
Did you get it in COVID?
The COVID? No, I got lucky. Hey, I recently with the Blues Fest, I'm actually certain I got it because I went to the Blues Festival, which is that annual we hadn't actually had it in like 3 years or 2 years. So we had it for the first time in 3 years. And I definitely, I didn't test because my boss was actually like, oh, get a rat test. And I said, after 2 years of this shit, I said, no way, I'm not getting a rat test.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I just told him, mate, I'd rather just come into work later. But that was like my nice way of telling, like, F off, I'm not getting a rat test. So,
fair enough. Yeah. That's
definitely, I think I got the good old C19.
No, mate, fucking like everybody else. Oh, you're good. See, most people don't know this. You can't say that on YouTube.
Yeah, okay.
See, I don't make money. I don't make money on this, but like that's funny. But now here we go. We've transitioned well here. So going into YouTube. So how did all the content creation stuff? Because I looked at your Instagram. There's a bit of stalking. Yeah. And but you've been doing it for some time. It looks like it. So did that all start with the music and then transition to the surfing stuff? Stuff?
Yeah. So kind of with YouTube, I guess, and like just social media. It just kind of started like, I guess, like even since I was like probably in year 9, 2015, just when I was around 15 years of age, just started uploading some like covers to YouTube, and like at 16 around, I got like some audio equipment and got super stoked and started just mucking around with GarageBand and doing some stuff like that. Put out some really cringy stuff as well, which I learnt my lessons from, which only way to learn is make mistakes.
Exactly.
It kind of just started from there onwards. How it transitioned into kind of like the board reviews and everything was just seen throughout COVID. I was kind of just like realizing, fuck, what's going on now? We're kind of like, we're sitting here like sitting ducks and just waiting for like I don't know if it's like, it was kind of like a political thing, but we're waiting for like this, whatever government to say, oh yeah, we're all free to go outside. But I don't know how it happened, but that's another topic. But I guess it kind of just evolved from that, like just kind of having not much to do. The main reason was going into a lot of surfboard shops and asking what they think of boards and all this stuff, and they were giving me recommendations that didn't really work. And because you kind of learn as a salesman how to sell things, and it's not as pretty as it looks on the outside. So
I've seen a couple of videos, and you go quite into detail. Like I'm not. My brother used to surf, so I know like a couple of things. Like I know, Red, was it the chili board or something?
Yeah.
I remember that. I think I was watching a couple of videos, and you go quite into detail. Do you have like a certain procedure like you follow? So maybe you'll review like a chili board. Is that a thing? So you review a chili board. Do you have like, okay, how it surfs, the traction for your feet and stuff like that?
Yeah. So it's pretty much like how it surfs. Dive into like really like the scientific details of the board. I guess because it's early stages, I'm still trying to figure out like what people gel with, but it's really hard to know. But I think most importantly, it's just discussing to the viewer how it actually went underfoot and what before they buy. Because a lot of the time, like a good surfboard makes you surfing and makes you have way more fun, but a bad surfboard can really put you in a very bad headspace. So it's
one thing I wanted to know was where all these surfboards come from.
Jeez,
I know they are not cheap.
It can vary. So what I did was what's been complicated recently was actually through Marketplace. I used to buy a lot through Marketplace and would make a bit of profit. But recently, because of COVID and the wages like earned and stuff, obviously people are being more cautious with their money and of course their spending. So so kind of most of the boards come from like, if I see like a few boards reviewed, someone buys it, it's in like kind of good condition with a few like minor pressure dings or whatever. And then I just make whatever it's on Marketplace for, either like lowball slightly or make the same offer depending on what I think the board's worth. And then I go pick it up, or I just go to the secondhand rack off shops. So a lot of my continuation has been either of making profits reselling the boards, which was working kind of 6 months ago, but now it's kind of been a bit more difficult. But also because I work at the surf shop now, I get 35% off boards and accessories. So it makes the kind of process a lot easier now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's good. And when was the surfing? Were you doing that when you were back in Sydney, or was that just a Byron thing? Basically started.
I did it in Sydney. So I started surfing when I was like 10.
You've been doing it for ages now.
Yeah. But I went on and off with it because I played football as well, so I was on and off. But it wasn't until I was 13 or 14 when I got two really bad knee injuries playing soccer. So I was just like a sitting duck in school and just watching kids play sport. It was really depressing for like a year, maybe longer, like 2 years, because I knew if I just like ran, my knee was just going to give out of me because I had a cartilage issue. Some horrible meniscus issue. So what the cartilage does is like when you're moving your knee, it's the thing that slides and keeps so if your cartilage is damaged, what happens is your knee gets caught. So it can't do bending motions and stuff. So that's kind of, I guess, how it came about with like my knee was stuffed and all that. And then when I was 13, 14, started surfing a lot more because surfing's less impactful on the knees than sports like soccer and tennis, even though some people are like, but I've seen guys in the surf do all these maneuvers. It must be sore for the knees, but I haven't had any problems since I've just been surfing and stuff. So,
lucky man, mate. My basketball career, so many injuries. I've done more injuries playing basketball than So, I know all about that. Do you have like when you're doing your social media and stuff? Do you what are your goals with the social media and stuff like at the moment?
See, that's actually a really interesting question because I feel like now I'm like almost like kind of I'm still on social media, but I'm a bit more anti it and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Why that?
I mean, it's just like the bullshit of like. It depends on like if it's stuff like, for example, like what you're doing. It's good because you're really getting to know people and like go to depth about just like different people and like go into depth about how they feel and like what they're feeling and go into mental health and all this stuff. So when it's used positively and applied positively, it's much more effective. But I feel like when it's like a lot of the time, like you have like these people, like for example, if I wasn't a musician or I didn't have something to promote, I wouldn't be on social media. And I'm not trying to say, people shouldn't be on social media, but for me, it's like, it's always like the validation, trying to rub something in someone else's face, like on a pedestal level, you know, like a hierarchy, like, if I have more numbers or, even besides that, like, I mean, like a big example is like what's happened in Byron Bay in the last 2 years. Like when people come on holiday to Byron Bay, and they're like on holiday and they're posting every location and they're like, I love this place. I could live here forever. Where it's like 2 years ago, people used to come here 3 years ago and they'd be like, but there's not much to do. But as soon as it got a trend to it, then people are like, I want to live here. And this is like I'm going to miss you, Byron. But it's almost like rubbing in people's faces, like either because they don't feel good about themselves, or it's like, I'm going to miss you. You've changed. It's really there's too much complication to it, if you know what I mean.
Oh yeah. No, you broke that down really nicely. Yeah. That was one thing with this. Like I've similar to you, I've loved posting on social media and doing it for a long time. But with this podcast, I thought more of like doing this like a TED Talk style, as in, I want to learn more about you. You know, like, hey, Jake surfs, he sings, but why does he do it? And like, what inspires him to do it? What, stuff like that. So that was a big thing. And no, I'm actually happy you rose that point. But the big thing with that is, especially in music, I shouldn't really get as much in surfing. If there is a hate comment or there's something that's, negative post, how do you react to them? How do you continue to keep making music and keep making your surfing videos?
Yeah, so actually, I mean, it actually hasn't happened so much with music.
Really?
It has a couple times with just like certain things and certain issues that happen, but like not really so much with music. But it happened recently on one of my board review channels. There was this board I reviewed, and it got really like people like, it's Stab in the Dark, which is like kind of like the biggest like publishing thing in surfing, like the biggest article publisher. They're like the corporation. They're just like a huge like kind of brand in surfing. So they pretty much run surfing in the world.
Yeah.
They're like easily the biggest like surf writers, bloggers, whatever you want to call them. And they do this series called Stab in the Dark, where they take one professional surfer and they put him, they give him like 20 boards, and then that surfer decides, a pro surfer, which board is the best board, best shortboard he rode in the whole comp. So the one that won I think it was 2 years ago now. So Taj Burrow declared this like new brand. It's not a new brand, but it's been around for a while, Sharp Eye. And then I did a review on it. Just in first impressions, and I surfed it like 3 times. It's like, oh, this is like going to be a good board and all that. And the first few times I surfed it, I was surfing it, and I was like, yeah, there's not really nothing special going on in this board, you know. And I was like, oh, okay, like I could go 2 ways. And obviously it's hard because sometimes when you put like a shop involved or whatever, you buy from a store, you want to help support your mates. But I think honesty is always the best policy, but not being too brutally honest. In that review, in that first impressions, I said like how the board was overhyped, and I didn't really have it in a malicious way. I just kind of said how I thought and what I felt, because like that's my job, is, you know, to be as honest as possible without trying to, you know, suck up to kind of all the companies and all that stuff. But yeah, I kind of just said it was overhyped, and then I got this comment, and the first thing, like the guy was just like, I don't know if he went at me or something. He's like, oh yeah, maybe your surfing's like at a beginner level and stuff. And I'm just like, it's
mate,
yeah.
Fucking hell.
And I was just like, oh, what a dickhead, you know? So, and then I was thinking, I was like, oh mate, you know, each preference, it's just all preference at first. Cause I'm like, yeah, you probably shut up after that. And I was having a particularly bad day this one day. And he said, I can't remember, I was on the toilet or something, and I just read this comment, and I had to go somewhere. And I was reading this comment, and he said, oh, like, you know, something like he was really just being really horrible in the comments, which you don't take to heart, as probably as content creators, we know you don't really, like in life, if someone, not everyone's nice. Most people are nice, but there's some people that are just bad eggs and you can't change them. So, or they're just taking the piss or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, he was putting in the comments like, oh, like beginner, like just roasting, like just saying like the most horrible things, like it shows like you're surfer that needs to be on a longboard, because like these style of surfboards don't work for you. And I just gave it to him from there. Like, because I was just at a point where I was like, yeah, how much, like, you know, one day, like it was during like some time, and I was just in a headspace, and I was just like, it was like this epiphany. It was like, yeah, one day we're going to die. And if we don't say the things we wanted to say, because sometimes getting it off your chest, there's a difference between overreacting, but getting something off your chest. So I just said, mate, get off my channel, you keyboard warrior or something. Like,
mate, you're gonna get it. That's what I'm surprised you haven't got it in the music, because like, I know the industry is tough, and you know, hearing from friends and who are like trying to get in the industry, and I'm hearing from friends that want to get it, and I'm just like, you just hear it, especially these higher ups, but especially if you're like an indie or little smaller artist that's trying to work for his craft. Yeah, honestly, I'm a bit surprised with that.
Yeah.
So, with the surfing, if you had to right now, so how many board reviews do you reckon you've done? Give me a number.
Probably. Well, I'm just trying to think of the episodes. Yeah. Probably maybe close to 20 now. Maybe 19, but like in terms of, if you count, because I do a series called The First Impressions. Yeah. So I dive into like kind of like what my first thoughts on the board. So after like 3 or 4 surfs, I go, this is what I think so far. It's probably like around like 23 or something now. But episodes in total is probably only like 18 or 19. But I'll have to double check.
Yeah, okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, now here I'll ask the question that just came to my head. That question is, so you got your series, and so what's in the video? So what's in it? So let's say the recent episode 16.
Yeah.
So what are you doing in that video? Are you like breaking down the board? Are you you giving your thoughts at the end, like just give me a regular video, what that will be like.
Episode, so if like every episode we like, there's a formula I follow, but I got a bit kind of off. I feel sometimes, like, probably, as you know, as a content creator, you can fall off the ball in some things, or if you keep it to the same, you're like, fuck, this is boring. Let's do something new. So yeah, usually an episode consists of like breaking down how tough the board is. So the blank, so what the company has provided to the store and how many surfs have you had and how does the board look after how many surfs you've had. So I give that a rating out of 10. Dive into concaves of a board, which is like the back of a board. So like just a different, like single concaves, double, it's just water, how water flows through the back of the board. There's rails. That was a new one because I didn't know much about rails before I started. So I'm kind of just learning on the job. But rocker, which is like how flat the board is or how high the board is on either side. We got some wind. We got some wind in the background here from mate, some terrible weather. Do you want me to want me to shut it? I can shut it. It'll be a bit.
No, mate. You're good.
Sure?
You're good. No, you're right, bro.
Yeah. No. So it's just diving into like wave range as well. Like, because some boards market themselves, like there was one recently called, which I picked up, called the JS0, and they're like, oh, the perfect thruster board for 0 to 4 foot surf. And I took it out in like, I don't know, it was like small. So I was like, yeah, I'll give it a test. And I rode it in like 1 foot, like on a beach break, and it was actually a bit bigger. It was probably 2. And I was like, far out, this thing's not even paddling onto the waves that well. So there's some things that you like, it doesn't mean they're bad boards, but it can mean just like every company has a board that's not as good as their previous board, if that makes sense. So
of course.
It's diving. I think the most important thing is, how does it feel? Is it like tight? Is it loose? Like, as you said earlier, like how does the traction and but importantly, the tail shape also makes a difference. So
wow, sick. And far out. And what was that? Okay, I said that. I've just said it's always happened to lose my train of thought.
Mate, we all do, eh?
I know. But with that, so you said you had your regular episodes, you have your first impressions. And I saw this new thing, a couple clips. It looked like you and a mate. What was the one? It looked like you were on a Zoom or something as well.
Yeah.
I was having a look at it. I was having a look at it this morning.
Yep.
So what was that new series? Is this a new series you're like going to start? And I'm going to YouTube channel now.
Yeah. So what it is pretty much is like, I have a lot of the time in my bloopers, which is like just things that I haven't used or whatever. There's some things where, especially, that's my good mate of mine, Isaac from Sydney. So we were breaking down like the Chile Volume 2 board, and he had like the Golden Gate Bridge in the background. And I thought, this is too gold to tell him, like change your background. But I feel like he did it because of his lighting in his room, or because it was a bit dark. And I guess the biggest idea with that was to kind of take all the bloopers that we're using and like whatever's like kind of valuable information to do. Sometimes I do like, I'm doing a part 1 series, and then it just never comes off, or like 2 years later it's like, we're doing the series again. It's in the bloopers category generally. But I just thought like whatever information doesn't get used is still content, So I don't ever be like, delete that. I always copy and paste it, put it in a bloopers category, then delete it from the main thing, and then use it for later. So that's the idea of like doing that kind of series, is like just whatever, and then evaluate on them like later on and stuff.
Yeah, fair enough. Have you thought about asking like any professional surfers about collabing or anything? Yeah,
I think it's a bit of a tough one with the YouTube thing, because I mean, there are some professional surfers and companies that are like, I mean, it's always good promotion to review a board, but then some are probably like, oh, fuck, he's going to say, if he says some shit about the board, it's just going to, like, I know there's one reviewer in America, his name's Noel Salas, and he's like Surf and Show. And he's like this bald dude in America, but he dives so deep into the boards. And like he did one on one of the JS boards. And I can tell you for sure that I don't know, in America definitely the sales would have limited. Because he said, I've tested these fins and it still feels too stiff. I wouldn't put this board in like they say 1 to 6 foot. I wouldn't put this board in like 1 foot, 1 to 2 foot at all, or 2 foot waves at all. And you're like, fuck, he's really going hard at it. But then he lost out because obviously if you're too brutally honest, then obviously you can lose out. So JS haven't really given him any more boards.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So brutal. I guess back to the question, if you ask pro surfers to be interviewed, I mean, I can, but I'd rather more do it like even one time I don't know if you've heard of Matt Wilkinson. Yes, the Aussie pro surfer. So he's originally from, I think, Avoca, and he actually grew up around Bondi a little bit and then moved back to the Central Coast, and he's been living up here for like 8 years or 7 years or whatever. But he's been off the tour for quite a bit. I see, like I've seen him in the car park a bit, but I guess I don't want to treat them like almost like it doesn't hurt to ask, but I mean, I don't want to treat them like proper celebrities in a sense. And also like, I don't know, like it depends who you're dealing with, because some people would be like, I want this much money, or like, and then you're like, as a content creator, you need to work out whether, I mean, some pro surfers would be nice. It's just people, but I guess I will ask eventually, but I think I want a bit more of a name to me, you know, in terms of like build my following up a bit, and then have a bit of an audience, and then be like, we're going to ask this guy to come on or whatever. That'll be cool eventually to do a different mini series. Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Yeah. That's one thing about it. You know, it would be good if we, you know, us smaller creators made some money, even for having, you know, getting a couple hundred views or 1,000 views from your view. I see your views of, you know, a couple of videos that have got a couple thousand views, which, you know, that's obviously because of how good you're reviewing the boards and stuff. So well done for that.
Thanks, man. Cheers.
No, it's all right. No problem.
Yeah.
But do you have a dream, you know, dream club? So say maybe you're reviewing, not even a dream video that you can dream surfing video. So maybe it's a video of you surfing with a surfer. Yeah. For example, do you have a dream person you do that with?
Yeah, I do actually. There's a guy, I don't know if you heard of Mark Occhilupo.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
From the 90s. So he was a pro surfer who he was on the tour in the 80s, and then I don't know if he was like 5 years in. He was like 16 when he got on the tour, so he was pretty young, traveling around the world. And obviously in those days and stuff, and still happens, but some people get caught in the partying scene, and especially it was really loose to be on the surfing circuit in those days. And like even the football scene and everything, it was like people just used to go drink heavily after they won games, and there wasn't really much knowledge on like diet and gut health and all that stuff, and how bad sleep routine can affect your mental well-being and all that. So anyway, long story short is like 5 years into the tour, he got to like, I think he was like maybe 6 years, 5 years, and he left in like at the age of like 21 or something, and he like became like a couch potato because he got really like depressed and stuff. Yeah, I'd say he was off. He would have been off the tour for, he would have been 7 years just sitting on the couch, and he went to eat fried chicken like down the road, and pick it up and then bring it back to his house, fried chicken and chips every day. And he just sat lay on the couch for like about 5 to 7 years. And then hell. And then every now and again, and he was like the best surfer of that generation in the 90s, probably like top 3. And like people are just like, he's just like, they didn't really want to say, they're like, he's just having this or that, because it was like embarrassing in those days. And then in 1999, he got back in shape like 2 years before. And I think in 1999, he won the world tour at like 30. I think he would have been like, he would have been early 30s, 32 or something, 33. Not sure exactly what age, but that would be a person I'd want to surf with, because he's still like, he's a bit of a character and stuff. But I think just someone who you can really, because I read the book and stuff, and it would like really transform my perspective on like kind of how to deal with mental health, when to get the help, what to do for yourself. So just reading, I guess, like reading that book that would be the one person I'd want to surf with.
And with mental health, we don't have to go too deep into it, but when you're not feeling like yourself, and what do you like to do? Like, we go for a surf or something, or is that the best thing to clear your mind?
Probably just spend a bit of time like sitting with the thoughts and feelings. And then more just so accepting them. And then also just going for a surf, but also practicing. What I've tried to implement every day is practice 3 things I'm grateful for. So like
that's really cool.
Anything around me. So it's like, even like there's a lot of moments where in life I think things can be good, things can happen, or like bad things, everything can happen, you know. But as humans, we take the bad more than the good. So I guess the biggest thing is implementing like just like 3 things every day you're grateful for. And if you can, like kind of top the list, you know, you can make more and more. You just find like you're thinking more positively, because like a lot of people get caught in the negative trap of like too much stress, and also just like you're even realizing like if you have a day where you're not even performing your best, which happens a lot, you know, just to be like you did the best you could anyway, you know, not be like, oh shit, I did so shit that day, or just be more like kind of grateful that you did it, and like give yourself a nudge, like positively like encourage yourself, you know, give yourself like good feedback. So I guess also another thing would be surround yourself with good people. That's a key factor, like, because if you have some shallow or like just judgmental people that don't understand you, then that's not a good healthy relationship in any sense, if it's a friendship or whatever it is, you know. So just have good people around you that support you and love you no matter what, and then just keep practicing gratitude.
Great points. Everybody listen out to those, and maybe use them yourself if you're up to you. But moving on, so let's talk about, you know, the music. So how did the music journey start? Was this something you did in school, or was it just something you enjoyed to do?
Yeah, so the music kind of started. I've kind of grown up in quite a musical family. My mum was like a dance teacher, and she sang a bit when she was younger and stuff. Didn't really pursue it as a career, but she did become a dance teacher and taught that for many years. But then obviously had my brother, and then things kind of changed. So she didn't have as much time to do the dance school, so she sold it. So she did that for probably 20 years or so. So she did that quite a bit, and dad did the Navy in Israel for a bit, and then he was a bit entrepreneurial and stuff, but he always liked to play music and stuff, like just pick up the guitar, and like quite eccentric, my dad. So he likes to do like quirky things. He likes to, like, he's busy, like he's got these like knives, and he makes kombucha from scratch and sourdough. So he did that for a bit, but then he found he was eating too much bread, so he kind of backed off a bit. So I guess like that's the musical journey kind of started. And then my brother's also a full-time singer-songwriter as well. So he's been playing for probably like 12 years now or so. Just music across the country. So that's kind of how it began.
And how would you best describe like your musical style, I guess?
Oh, it's tricky at the moment. It's leaning towards more. It's still singer-songwriter, just because it's not like most of the, especially all the songs on my first EP and my new song, like I didn't get any assistance like writing them. I guess like music style would probably be like indie rock, like singer-songwriter. Yeah, I wouldn't put it in like the indie folk category, but there's some folky stuff. But it's kind of more like indie rock now, I reckon. And with the music, did you what gets you in the right, like what gets you to play? So looking at I had to listen to your recent one. Don't tell me Daytona.
So what went into that? So do you go in the room and just start writing stuff, and then you play with beats? Or wait, do you make your beats?
I do. Yeah. I made
beats.
Yeah.
So what goes into that? You just hear the beat and then you start writing, or what's the process?
With Daytona, for example, it was like kind of like this. It happened after a bit of a hiatus. You know, like I don't think I'd released music for a little while. So with Daytona, I decided like I wanted to come out with something a bit more fresh, and but I was kind of debating between like whether it was too like kind of different, or like it wasn't good enough yet, but then I was like, fuck, it doesn't need to be perfect. That's kind of the sound it's going for. So kind of, I guess what went into making it was just like, I can't remember when I wrote it, but it was during I wrote it. It was actually maybe like, I can't remember, but I was out one night at the beach, like I think it's the beach hotel, just in Byron or whatever. And I was just like, I had a few to drink, and then I was like kind of like, I felt that the alcohol wasn't good for me. So I haven't really had a drink since November.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's big.
Yeah,
I respect it.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yes, so.
But I'm the opposite.
Yeah. No, but each their own, you know. It's a thing to enjoy. It's just, I guess, like, I felt like, especially, I feel like it can be a weird thing, because if you drink in a different environment, like if you drink like in an environment that you're more comfortable in, it can change like the way the effects it has on you the next day, as opposed to if you drink in an environment where you feel a bit like uncomfortable. But obviously sometimes like a drink can get you on the dance floor with a nice looking lady, so it's it's like, so it's just depends. But
she might just pull you over.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just yank you by the arm and go, you're coming with me. Yeah.
Oh, bro, too funny.
So it was just kind of, I guess, like the song idea came, I don't remember if it was like 3 days after that, but it was just like kind of like singing a song about getting, like feeling like it was weird, because I was like, oh, I'm getting out the house, but maybe I'm not doing the thing that's good for me to get out the house, but maybe I am, you know? So it's like Daytona was about like debating those two feelings of like kind of, and then what went into making it was just like, it's like, oh, I want to make this like kind of, I guess like especially instrumentally, I want to make this like someone feel something, you know? So like even when I recorded the electric guitars, I wanted to make it like, I think it was 1 take or 2 takes or whatever it was, but I wanted it to be like, even if it wasn't like, I don't know what the idea of perfect is, but I just wanted feeling, you know? So it kind of, making Daytona, I don't remember when I started writing it, but I do remember it after that one night out at the pub. And I was just like, it just felt like it came like naturally after that over time. Yeah.
And when making music, do you feel like are most of your songs based off stories or past experiences? Are you like really like, I've spoken to other musicians on this on the podcast, and I've asked them about like storytelling. Do you picture something and then start writing the lines? And you know, with that song, are you thinking that's like with a video attached, if you know what I mean? So I think more with, I guess, with songwriting and stuff, especially what goes into my music, is like a lot of it more recently, I guess it's also maturity, but it's always something that, you know, you want to discuss. What do you want to get across to whoever's listening to it? But I feel like mainly I almost just do it for myself. Like, what do I want to get out of my system that I'm trying to understand, you know? So I guess when I am songwriting, it's kind of goes in a pattern of, sometimes I record over voice memos. If it's like a guitar riff or like just a chord, usually how I write is like I straight away go into it, like with something in my head or a line. And then I'm like, that's the line I want. And then, but if it feels like it doesn't fit exactly, which is very rare for me because I'm not that fussy in terms of lyrics. So I don't really, a lot of artists have a thing where they struggle with writer's block. But for me, that, I don't know, at least for 2 years or whatever, not 2 years, but maybe a year, it hasn't really been a thing because
I believe whatever comes out is like what's there. And then you can, if you don't like certain aspects, you can tweak it a bit, but you don't have to go crazy about it, because a lot of people, especially content creators and artists, they store content based on what they're perceiving and what they view. Whereas actual reality, it's actually sometimes just you just need to do what you were doing before. So yeah, no, it's just like it flows from voice memos to then the lyrics come, and then kind of just, you know, hooray. Yeah.
And what goes into like obviously spoke about that song, but others, as I said, your EP, and then I just again looking at Spotify, a song called She's Gay, which I would love to hear the story about that. After as well. What goes into writing your own songs, and tell the world.
So writing my songs is, I think, the formula for, because obviously like what I want to do as my main career is like always being like, I want to write songs for other artists. Well, it was, but like sometimes you're like, fuck, like, do you actually really want to do that? Or is it just like the commercialism? Like, you could be, what do you define as success? So I guess what goes into songwriting is more so kind of, you have the start of the story, what you want to convey, and then how you want to finish it. Where does the story end, you know? Or like, how does it end? Does it end like just like with, are you still questioning, or is it like solved, or is it not solved, or will it ever be solved? So some of my songs are like, some of the songs I haven't released, I've been like, yeah, it's not like nothing changes. Like one of the songs I wrote, how like a change is gonna come, a change may never come, and then a change will never come. So there's like it's like getting negative, and then maybe realism, you know?
Yeah.
So like it just depends on the pattern, but yeah. So, and like, I guess answering your question about the She's Gay song, I don't want to mention who it is, but one of my favorite.
Someone.
Yeah. It's actually about that Victoria's Secret model. No,
it's actually that you know who you are.
Yeah. You know you are. Come out.
Shout out to
just completely expose it. No, but I think it was more. It's funny, that song. What was cool about that song was a voice memo take. The song.
Okay.
So when I release it, even though I have to be honest, it's not my best line of work. But yeah, because like I just find, like, I listen to it now, I'm like, yeah, for not really something, I still like it, like, but I'm like, no, it's not like that amazing to me. But yeah, it was just about a friend of mine who's obviously a female, maybe she was like gay, or maybe she wasn't, but she was debating between whether she was or she wasn't, or she was somewhere in between, you know? And I think for some youth, that's been a bit of a, I guess, like for some people growing up, that's always been a challenge for some individuals, like, you know, in school, like, and stuff. That's why it's also very important for, I guess, people to be very accepting of other people, because everyone's so different. And
of course.
Yes. So I guess, like, I just kind of wrote a song like about how some people are like kind of this, and maybe it wasn't fully about her, but it was like she was like the reference. But it was kind of about like her just being like maybe feeling like that was such a burden, because I mean, the story is I kind of watched her, and she was like, oh yeah, I have this knee injury, and like her mum was like saying, oh yeah, you know, she's got this knee injury and stuff. And I think like if people were a bit more accepting, and maybe if she was able to be more honest to the situation, which is hard when you're growing up, I know, for some people. But yeah, it could have been a very different, like maybe a different story. But I think there was some lines in like the song, like, you know, just like something like the yellow door, like even though it was one take, so I was like even trying to figure out some songs. I'm like, what are they about? Like, so some of those songs, especially on the first record, I'm like, what is it actually about? You know. Like, So yeah, no, it's just about, I guess, like the song came from like that idea of like being like sticking up for a friend, like just like saying what could happen if people aren't accepting, you know. Yeah.
Do you have other songs like that when you like talk about issues or like, well,
yeah,
as in you talked about like the Daytona, which is like you deciding not to drink, and they talk about people not being themselves, sort of. She's gay. Some people. Any other songs that are in the works or that you've released as well that are similar to that?
Yeah. Well, one of the other songs that I'll say one that's in the works is I'll actually say a couple, but one of the ones off my last EP was called Running Bus, and it was like kind of, it had a bit of randomness, just thoughts going everywhere, but you're thinking about other things, but then you're not solving an issue. But one of the lines I said, I think my brother's got a secret crush or something like for an undercover secret life, like, because I felt like my brother was like holding a lot of things inside, during like a period in his life where it was like, let me in, let me know what's going on. So I just I think sometimes the best way to do it is like through music. And he's like, oh yeah, and he listened to it, and it was like one of those things where he's like, oh shit, he's like, I like this song. It was like an interesting thing, but like another one, I guess like a newer one I'm working on is like kind of about like, it's called This Love, and it's like, it's also got that same like Daytona rocky, but like even like grungier almost. But it's kind of about like how this one girl in my life I was like hanging out with a lot, and like it felt really toxic, but I kept running back to it. So it's a theme of like discussing like, it's like almost like it's like uplifting because you're like getting the feelings out, but then you're like, you keep running back to the person that's no good for you. So it's like, a wake up call song almost. And like, it's on a theme of like, it's going to be all like, I mean, in Daytona, I'm walking with pajamas out on the street. And then like, in this next song, This Love, is going to be like, it's just running out to like, cause you're running for help, So it's like that kind of thing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Sorry, I yawned.
No, man, all good, mate.
My apologies.
It's all good.
When releasing music, do you have like a releasing strategy where you like post release songs at like certain times, and like promote certain months in advance? Do you have anything like that you do?
Yeah. So what's interesting is like normally I do like a bit of promotion plan. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this, do that. But for this particular Daytona song, I just wanted to see like just releasing it, how it would go, just like not really putting much out, just putting because I didn't want to, like sometimes like you give a bit of a song away, but I felt like I didn't want to give too much away. I wanted people to go and listen to the song. So I guess my strategy is more just like when I promote it is like at this, like normally it's like, oh yeah, put the Instagram boost ad, because then you can get some new listeners and stuff, and everything might like, eventuate into that. But my biggest plan was in this particular release to see how it'd go if I just like put it out, like without promotion, without anything, how many people are going to listen. And I guess it has been a bit lower than I expected, but I guess I'm not like, oh shit, because like I've heard some good feedback, and that's all I want people to like. I'm not even looking, like sometimes people will be like, oh, that's an awesome song, or they'll be like, oh, I don't quite like that song. Part of like the feedback I want is like, did I do the best I could on it? And that's all that matters for me. Yeah. Did I put my heart and soul into it? And if I did, and I did, like I felt like with Daytona I was going to re-record some vocals, but I felt like there was no more I could do, because I was just like, it was almost like the emotion had been put into the song, and that was it. Yeah.
And do you do, when releasing like Spotify, for example, do you try to get in those Spotify their playlists? Is that like something you want to do, or are you trying to do at the moment? Yeah,
I guess as an artist, you do want to try get onto those playlists, because they can like grow your listenership like heaps. But Spotify is a very kind of like it's a hard thing, obviously, as you said, in like these industries, is like they make it very industry like. So like I remember I spoke to like this one lady who put like, because there's always people who put songs on the playlist. I spoke to this one lady who like normally puts my songs like in the indie. It's like, oh yeah, no, but it's not the sound, like not with Daytona, but with the previous song. I was like, oh, could you put this on? She's like, oh, I like it, but it's not the sound I'm looking for. And I was kind of like, in my head, I was like, well, maybe it's just a bit of a different sound, but it doesn't mean it's like each their own. I can't just go, oh, some random person from, I don't know, overseas. I can't be like, oh yeah, put that song out or whatever, you know. I have to be careful, but yeah, in terms of, I guess, like, yeah, putting all that music out and like trying to get onto playlists is much more difficult. But it's worth giving a shot. But it gets really complicated. Some websites you go on, you're like, oh, how the fuck do you do this?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, like you're like, how do you kick this algorithm? But I guess you just got to do it because you love it and then see what happens. I mean, you can't be like so. Oh, I want to get to that person because comparison. I heard something the other day. An interesting quote was comparison leads to despair.
Yeah.
And it's such a smart thing because we're always comparing ourselves. So I guess just like see what you can do and whatever you can do best to your ability, then go for it, you know. But playlist is a tricky avenue. Triple J especially. Let's not get started with them.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Bad times, bad experiences.
Not so much bad experiences. More just so like I feel like they're almost pushing too much for American acts, or like not even like just like some of the music they're like Triple J, and then they got this like crappy, like I don't care if people don't like me saying this, but there's some really not so great music on Triple J, and I think a lot of people know that. And that's why most people are plugging in their Spotify and trying to listen to that. But I mean, I don't know what won the hottest 100. Was it the Wiggles or something?
I'm not sure.
I think the Wiggles won last year or something, and it just kind of shows like I think Midnight Oil said that's where there's not enough support for Australian music or something.
Here we go. I found it. Triple Days 1 to 100. Number one was Wiggles, Elephant. Oh, that's pathetic. Yeah, that's horrible. Jesus Christ. They seriously going to put that someone's song, a Wiggles song?
Yeah.
How many people even listen to the Wiggles? It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Anyways, moving on. So I did see a post that you put up about doing gigs. Is that something you really look forward to do? And when you're doing gigs, do you original stuff or covers?
Interesting. So with gigs, sometimes like I'll give like gigs, depending on how you feel, can be like a previous before the gigs. Like you always feel good once you play the gig. At the moment, I've been playing quite a few gigs, but I don't really necessarily post it just because sometimes you have there's not enough privacy with social media. It's like, it's like nice to support, but sometimes people are like too in your business. It's like, I want to come see. Like I used to promote myself, be like, I'm going to busk here tomorrow. And then all it did was like promote the spot, or like someone took the spot off me, or someone was like,
really?
let me know. And I guess like the biggest thing is you don't want to psych yourself out too much.
Yeah. That's that point.
So I think, when I play, like even sometimes when I do enjoy playing gigs when I'm playing them, but obviously it also depends on the crowd. But recently I have liked it because I've worked in a surf shop and I've worked a couple jobs that I don't like. So like just being like, you can play and practice music is such a great thing. But there are some disadvantages where I've had periods in gigs where they're like, can you turn the music down a bit? Like the staff who work there, they're like, could you turn it down a notch? And you go, yeah. Does that sound better? You don't press any, you don't turn down anything. And they go, yeah, that sounds better. Because psychologically, you're just like, But it's a tricky one because like, I mean, it's like anything. There's going to be days where you don't feel like doing something. But if you had to say, there's surf and there's a chance to play like a gig or festival, like that's tough. But I'd probably pick the surf.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's your love. Why? Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Would you like with that? Actually, let me ask this one first. Firstly, what type of places are you like currently playing your gigs at? And then second question, do you have like a certain place that would be like, that'd be sick, that realistically you could get, let's say within the year?
There are like, so recently it's been actually, like I'd say the last couple months, it's been more. There's a town called Yamba, which is like hour south of Byron Bay. So I've played a couple gigs there, like the Blue Dolphin Holiday Resort. So it's quite a classic Australian gig where it's like you play near there's a bar at the pool, and then you play like everyone swimming in the pool like yummy mummies, and then like but then like it's just like families and stuff as well.
Yeah.
On the other side, so it's like older people, adults ordering drinks, and then they're like drinking, getting on the piss, and then like you're playing a gig to them like in the crowd. And then so they got all like it's just like very like laid back cruisy. So those gigs like were the gigs I'm playing, the 2 gigs. I played at the Blue Dolphin and then played at the Pacific, which is a hotel in Yamba, which is quite a like probably their biggest venue there in Yamba. But mainly recently I've been playing like the last few weeks. I get like a regular gig at the Fresh Cafe, which is like just next to Beachy, which is like in Byron town. So it's at the end. It's like the part of a last like kind of strip in Byron towards the main beach.
Yeah.
I guess a dream, would it be like a local venue or dream venue to play?
Do both.
Oh, well, I have done Blues Fest when I was 17. But I didn't headline, obviously, like I wasn't. But in terms of, I did one of the main stages with my school band because we got into something or whatever, or got connected through the school. I don't know, like trying to display the local talent. That was like the last Blues Fest, like a few years back, or the second last one, third now. Perform there. That felt really good. I'd like to do that one again if I can. But could I do around the world or whatever? Like.
Mate, whatever, literally. You tell me.
Oh, probably, if I was to play, it just like looked like playing Blues Fest, like headlining would be so awesome. But I'd say like probably if I was to headline, it would be pretty cool to be at Coachella.
Oh, yeah, that'd be sick.
Like just performing in Coachella, like just something like some of my indie rock stuff or whatever. That'd be. I wouldn't say it's a full dream because like I'm not that fond of always performing in front of people.
That's what I was going to ask actually. How do you get stage fright, or what is it like? How is it when you knew your thoughts about the perform? What's that like?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I'm not I wouldn't classify myself as like a shy performer. So I'm not like a performer that like as soon as I get on the stage, I'm not like, oh, fuck, this is so daunting, you know? I'm never like that, but I'm more just like, sometimes more recently so, but like it used to be more like sometimes I'll get a bit shaky and nervous, but I guess because I've done it since I was like 17 now, and I bust the whole year from 17 to 18 and didn't really did it like 3-4 times a week on the streets of Byron Bay before it became like a trendy spot to busk. I was like, it just depends. Like usually it's like before the gig, it's like the negative talk. Like it's like, it's whatever it is. Like sometimes if I have a shit surf before I like play a gig, I don't feel so good. But then I'm like, I need to play that gig to like get the like dopamine high or whatever. It really, to be honest, it really just depends, I guess, you know. It's like sometimes I am like, there was a period, as I said like earlier, where every time I performed, like it just seemed to be like a thing happening where people would be like, oh, could you turn the music down a bit or turn this up or turn it up louder? I'm like, okay, like either way, like I'd rather louder. Like, but I've had times where you're like so used to being told turn it softer that you're like louder. Okay, that's good. Yeah. So that's nice when you hear the louder, but when you hear the softer, it's a bit of a, like, it doesn't matter because like, it's not like it's I don't play with a big speaker system or something that's going to shut down the whole neighborhood, you know? So it's like, anyway, it's each their own. But look, it's more just before having that negative self-talk, you know, trying to not let that get in the way. Like the other night I was like, I think it's more anxiety, you know, like because you don't always want to give your energy all the time because, I mean, gigs can be tiring because sometimes you just get people who sit there. Like I'm learning with age, it's fine, people are different, but some people don't even like clap or look at you or like the whole time. So Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Really is.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it with the questions.
Yeah.
But so what I do here, what I've been doing, we do this thing called the 10. So there's 10 general questions and and just do your best to answer them, I guess.
Yeah.
So the first one is, tell us about your most recent social media picture. Your most post or tell us about that.
What was it? Just a reel? I think it was.
Anything. Let's have a look.
I think on my main account it must have been a reel or something.
Let me see. On your main one.
Yeah.
So this is a commitment we do, guys. We go straight on the phones.
We become like teenagers again.
Exactly.
Teenagers at the year 10 prom.
It was check out my new single out now.
Yeah.
A reel of it. So what's that? So do you then what I can do, I'll come up with a question to that. So when you post a song, when you have posted a song, will you do like the picture saying it's out now, or will you post a couple of days later saying listen to it and then maybe add a bit of the song?
Yeah.
What's the process with that?
Yeah, so like this single was just like fuck it, just get it out there kind of thing. Like it was sitting on the laptop for a while. So I guess this normally the process is like put it out, try assemble it as best as you can, like get a good promotion clip, and then just promote it to like a wider audience, boost it up through Instagram, and then Bob's your uncle and get some listeners. Yeah,
easy, mate. And who's your biggest inspiration? Can I get one for surfing, one for music, and then just one in life? Yeah,
so probably for music, it's probably tough one. Who's probably my favorite artist at the moment? Probably biggest inspiration recently is an artist called Dayglow.
Dayglow, never heard of him.
Yeah, he's just like an indie kind of. He did a lot of like bedroom pop kind of work. And then like got really good sounds just from like the equipment. He just did room pop, like, so that's my approach now. For surfing, probably biggest inspiration who I like to, I'll just go with who I like to watch, even though Oki's probably like the overall biggest inspiration, but the surfer I like to watch the most is probably Dane Reynolds. Just I like his powerful approach. And then what was the other one for?
Just in life.
Oh, in life.
Oh, it can be somebody's basic as your parents, if that's what you're
understand. Yeah. Probably in life. It's probably just my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's just he's very level-headed and just like he does his own thing and doesn't really have to validate why he's why he's not doing this or not doing that. He's just taught me, I guess, more how to be myself. Yeah. Even though it's a pain in the ass sometimes, but.
Like all dads. But,
legit.
Well, something you've just told me, you stopped drinking. The next question is, what's your worst drinking experience? Or like a funny story when you've been on the drinks.
Oh,
something you can think of?
Probably worst situation is probably like, I don't know, just like being, I can't really think of a specific, probably the worst situation was like, not the worst. I would say my brother's wedding because I was pretty drunk, but nothing really bad happened there. Yeah. So I'd say more so the worst situation is probably just somehow like getting involved in like, just like being like I'll just give an example. Like you get towards the end of the night and then like it's like 2 a.m. and like you're still you're just hoping for a chance that the girl has been leading you on since like 11 p.m. and it's like 2 a.m. and you just got to go home,
Yep,
or like,
yep.
Oh no, and the worst experience is like when you think you had a chance with a girl and then like the next day you come and like you've lost the iron's just not hot anymore. So there's a saying, strike while the iron's hot, and you just lose that opportunity, like because you something like it didn't happen on the night or whatever. Like so, just
you step the next day and she leaves you in red within the hour.
Yeah, exactly. You're nothing to them.
Exactly, mate. It's plenty in the sea. So now this, you sort of answered this before, but so firstly, what's your favorite activity to do out of surfing and and music, and then what's your favorite activity to do that's not surfing or music?
Oh yeah. So yeah, obviously, yeah. First two favorite activities is surfing and music, and then my third option is like gaming. I just like to, whenever I have time to like just play video games. More so, not so much recently, but like probably
what's
FIFA.
Your game of choice? FIFA?
Yeah, FIFA 21.
Game back in the day.
I got it here, but I think it's on a digital copy. So yeah.
Mate, FIFA 11 was my game back in the day. I was a freak.
So good.
Oh, mate.
Mate, good old Tucker.
Oh, mate, that's my boy.
Yeah.
What's your favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Oh, easy answer would be Japan.
Oh, you've been to Japan. I heard that's great.
I went with Jack Main to Japan.
Oh, really?
Back in 2000, was it 19? Mm-hmm. Possibly.
Shout out to former guest Jack Main.
Yeah, former guest. Yeah, the best, the greatest man alive.
He is lovely, man.
Yeah, besides Sam Fraser, the second, the two greatest men alive, and then Zane Voloshin. Put Bogo and Zane Voloshin.
Mate, they'll love that because they'll listen to this. They'll listen to the whole thing and they'll love that at the end.
Yeah, they'll hear this part.
What I was going to say was, did you ski or snowboard?
Yes, we did. We went skied, snowboarding and skiing.
Awesome.
Me and Jack went off the track as well. At one point, it was like, I don't know if it was him or was like, I don't know if he was like, oh, this is a bit sketchy, or I said this is a bit sketchy, and we just did it anyway. But it wasn't that gnarly. It wasn't as gnarly as some other off tracks, but still not all off tracks are a bit gnarly. But yeah. So that was a great trip. We had to Ryu National Park in Japan. And some nice Japanese ladies as well. But
really?
No, don't worry, nothing happened. No explicit.
That's too funny, bro. Yeah. And what are your goals for next year or two? That can be anything.
Yeah. So a big goal of mine is to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube for my board reviews.
Yep. Keep working.
Yeah. And another goal of mine is also to release another record.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep releasing music. So yeah, it's just very, very just keep working hard and put the head down. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. And where do you see yourself where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Horrible question, but
yeah. Because you just never know what could happen in 5 years.
Exactly.
Everything changes in like 5 days.
Exactly, mate.
Yeah, probably where do I see myself in 5 years? Preferably, probably to prepare, I'd like to leave Byron Bay. So yeah, probably live somewhere either down south or somewhere, maybe go check out Western Australia, and possibly even live overseas in Europe somewhere.
Awesome.
Yeah, try find a lady and keep on keeping on.
Yeah, fair enough, mate.
Yeah,
love that. What is it? What are you working on? Is there anything that you're working that you haven't mentioned? Is any other songs or any gigs that you like want to possibly talk about? Like, could be anything.
Yeah, so I guess what I'm working on, the biggest thing, because fuck you, COVID. So biggest thing is like, no, I didn't say that. No, so mate, we might use it. Yeah, it's a good take.
Exactly.
So yeah, the biggest thing I've been working on now is trying to sort out all my get my passport. So I've applied for my passport, sorted it all out. Got an urgent one just so I can like activate it, and like when I feel like it, just see you later.
Of course.
So yeah, that's been the biggest thing I'm working on, and also I'm just trying to finish up some content on my board review channel, mainly before I leave for Europe and Israel. So yeah,
awesome. What's something you wish was legal in Australia?
Oh, it could be legal in Australia. I would say like something legal, which is like there shouldn't actually, because I mean Australian security guards at clubs and nightclubs or pubs, they're so irritating.
Tell me about it.
Most of them are, like I'm saying, only some of them actually aren't, and there's very few that are nice. So I guess what should be legal is, I still think, like there should be a way to show your age, but they shouldn't do like they always ask you, like, there shouldn't be a legality to, there's been things like where they ask, oh, can I check your phone and check if you're, like, they shouldn't have the legality to be able to check that information.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or even not that, but like, I mean, yeah, just I don't think that should be legal. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. The next segment it's called This Week's W's and L's. So a win that you've had. I know it's Tuesday when we're filming this, so you can go from last week. So the last week and a half, some like a W for you and then an L. And I'm a part of this. Yeah. Part of this podcast. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, go for it. So what's
so win or loss?
Yeah, it's your win or loss. Both. So what's your win and then what's your loss? Doesn't have to be something super dramatic.
Yeah.
It can be waking up the wrong side of the bed, realistically.
Yeah. I mean, my win is like getting my passport sorted and, getting ready to go overseas and go chase more of my dreams. My loss is the last week has been a bit stressful with all the rain. We've had up here. It just fucking, really? I mean, are you the same down there as well?
It's been really, last couple of days, but nothing too bad, to be honest.
Yeah. No, so we just kind of, I guess it's hard to get things done when the rains just keeps coming and coming and coming. So
of course,
trying to get reviews and film footage for surfing and just trying to, even if I want to do a music video for my song, it's just not looking like that possible at the moment, which is fine. You just have to accept and roll with the punches. So that would be the only loss. I mean, in terms of just a bit of a struggle to get certain things done.
Yeah. Okay. My W is filming this. Always love, mate. We've had a good chat.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for coming on. Another W is it's not really W. This is a win and a loss. So the win part of it is I finally played basketball. Like an actual game. I haven't played a game in like over 2 years. So it was great finally playing. Yeah. And I played okay, but then we lost by like 30.
Yeah, right.
That was bad. Oh, mate. But that's all right.
At least you got out on the court.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but it was embarrassing. Okay. The next thing is the question of the podcast. This is what nobody ever. Once I get big enough and people listen to all these podcasts, it's called the question of the podcast. So it's a question I ask everybody. Yeah. But now what I've done with it, I just thought of a question and just you got to ask, you got to answer it. And it usually has, and this has nothing to do with anything we talked about. So what the question is how do you feel about the Johnny Depp and the Amber Heard situation?
I'm actually, look, what I think is, I'll make this quick because I'm on like 6% on my laptop.
Yeah, we're almost done. So
yeah, cool. Johnny, what I think of the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp thing is, I mean, like, I've kind of signed, if this helps, I've signed the petition to remove Amber Heard from Aquaman 2.
That's unreal, mate.
Yeah, just because I think, look, I'm not going to back up. Like, I'm going to say this. I'm not sure if he's like whatever, like there's no evidence or whatever of Johnny Depp doing anything as of yet. So I guess my opinion is like, I don't think Disney should have cancelled the franchise straight away. Yeah. Without any proper evidence. It was just in a period of cancel culture. And like, I guess like sometimes in the world when good things become too good to be true, it starts to become a bit over the top. Mm-hmm. But then I don't know what Johnny Depp's actually done or whatever, but I do know Amber Heard shitting in the bed is not a pretty sight. So.
No. Yeah. My thing with it is that, I don't know enough. I've watched a couple of videos and stuff and still the situation is, I think both sides, they're probably both in the right and wrong. Yeah. So there's in when I did legal studies, it's for this thing called mens rea, which is you're innocent until proven guilty. Yeah. So it's just got to be that. Yeah. And then the final segment of the podcast. Yeah. So it's called guest to guest. So I get each guest will ask a question for the next guest, and then you're going to answer the question from the last guest.
Okay. So I ask the question?
So you're gonna answer this question, and then just now think of something you're gonna ask for the next guest. It can be anything. Okay. So the question that I'll ask is Goran. He asked, "What is the best international food you've had from a different country?"
Best international food I've had from what?
A different country. So like something you've eaten from a different country.
Oh,
That's
food. I thought you said feud. I was like,
oh, did I? Oh, my bad.
No, it's not you. I think it's just like it just cooked it to maybe my headphones or something. It's not you.
Yeah.
No, best international food. Fuck.
From a different, something you've eaten in a different country.
Yeah. Okay, I've actually got an answer. So, but it's hard, man. Fuck. If you take in Japan, Middle East, Jesus. But in Italy, there's a thing they do like a thing called bistecca Florentina. So like their own Florentine steak.
Oh.
And like, it's like dry aged for fuck knows how long. But I was 12 years old. It came out of there just wasn't anything wrong with it. Another thing would be probably like there was a pizza I had in Rome that was just unreal. Like thin, crispy crust. Like you can't get. It was like probably Italian mum home cooked like in the restaurant. Jeez, I don't know. Like for that, I'd say the bistecca Florentina, even though it's controversial for my call. But yeah, jeez, I've had this. Or you could just say, honestly, I think the food in Israel is probably one of the best, or Middle East just generally make the best food in the world. Yeah, probably. I'm going to go with bistecca Florentina. Florence.
Lock it in. So what's your question for the next guest? See, the last one is there's not going to be another guest for like probably I'm not going to another one for like a month or something. But
all right, cool. I'm going to think of a question.
Take your time.
What's the one thing you regret that you did in the last month?
Okay, that's a good one. That is a really good one. Sweet, and that is about it. So
awesome.
You want to let the people know like where to find you, anything you want to shout out?
Yeah. So my name's Jake Harpaz once again. Thanks Sam Fraser for having me on the what podcast do you the
Reupload. The Reupload.
Podcast. Yeah, well, I don't Ray's Entertainment though. That's something.
That's the YouTube channel. Channel, yeah.
So thanks for having me on the Reupload podcast. My name's Jake Harpaz. And to find my music and my board reviews, you can just search it up on YouTube. So Jake's Board Reviews on YouTube. And then my music name is just Jake Harpaz, my name. And that's on Spotify, Apple Music, and all the shenanigans. So whatever you use, you can go search that name.
Yeah, that will all be tagged below. So go click on those when this is out. And that's about it. This is the Reupload Podcast, episode 20. I will see you all on season 3, and thank you, Jake, for joining me.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me. Cheers. Mate, awesome chat.
No problem. Okay.
Good man.